So, hey guys, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. I've been having periods of time where I'm like falling asleep, and then this morning, which this morning ended up being 4:30 p.m., I had been working for hours to try to wake up, and my body just would not let me. It just kept falling asleep. So that's my life. Just trying to be awake so I can do productive things, because I've wanted to film 3 different videos and I can't because I want to do it during the daytime, and I'm always sleeping no matter what I try to tell myself to do. And it was so nice out and I was going to take a walk, but no, body just wouldn't let me. In fact, my body tried to put me to sleep several times while just sitting here, but I'm not going to let it. I've already had 1 energy drink and I'm not afraid to put more caffeine into my body. Do you see my little poof? I'm so proud of my little poof because I can actually get my hair back in a ponytail. I do have bang pieces, but if I brush them into the rest of the hair, they don't fall out unless it's windy or I move them around. But probably within I should say by midsummer, there won't be a problem with that, and it makes me excited. And you might be able to see a lot of blonde in my hair. It's because I had to use something that was not shampoo not super long ago, and it ripped a lot of the green out. Now I have just blonde, and I'm waiting for my green dye to arrive, but I think it's from the UK, so it's been 2 weeks or more since I ordered it, but it'll probably take a while before it gets here. Sigh. But it's a darker green. It's like a deep forest green, and I love it. I'm also waiting for my dread supplies to come, because I am going to be making my dreads soon, and I'll have my dark green hair and then my multicolored green, because it's just different shades of green dreads, and it'll be all cool. So that's exciting. But I wanted to make a video. I've been marathoning this person's videos who I really, really like, and I realized that over the past year or so, we've kind of matched up with how we see the world and what we think about and everything. And I think that's neat, because I originally started watching this person because I loved that they had dyed hair. It was all different colors and stuff, and that they painted on their walls, which is what I used, that's what I like to do. But there came a period where I didn't like them as much, but I kept watching them anyway. And now, we've kind of meshed together in personalities. And I think that's just really, really interesting how that came around, and I'm glad I saw it through, because she's a really inspirational person. She also struggles with anxiety like I do, and has a very reclusive personality like I do, so she's an inspiration to watch. So thanks to her, I'm inspired to make this video, because it's something that has bothered me for a long time, and I'm going to let it go, and I'm just going to explain what it is, why I'm going to let it go, and why, if other people don't want to let it go, they're not my problem anymore. Alright, so here's the deal. When I was a teenager, I really loved those years. Those were the years I started becoming nerdy. Those were the years I met some of the bestest friends in my life. And those were also the years I started realizing that my religious and spiritual path was going to be a nature-based one, but didn't understand, a mature enough that talking is hard. It will always, always be hard. But that was the time that I started discovering a nature path. I didn't quite understand what I was getting myself into at the time, and I picked the wrong path. So, basically at that time, I was still pretty naive. I've made it clear before, I have autism, so my brain ages a lot slower than everybody else, and it probably won't mature to full maturity ever. I'm always going to be a big kid. But I can still learn from experience, and I feel like I have in many ways. But basically, what I would have been at 14 or 15 is probably the likeness of a 9 or 10-year-old, or maybe a tween or something. Basically, my teen years, I was definitely a tween in my brain. And I did a lot of things that I didn't think were selfish, and that I didn't understand as being anything like that, but looking back, I can see just how selfish I was and how explosive I was. I was still, like, hitting people. Like, I remember the last day I hit somebody, because it was a big shock, and I had somebody finally just snap me out of it. I was 15, I think, but nobody ever taught me don't hit. Nobody ever controlled my temper, and I had a terrible temper probably up until my mid-20s. Like, I have bursts now, but nothing compared to how I used to be. So explosive and so out of control, and now I just can't even imagine being that angry. Really? I can't. But that's what I was. I was very impulsive. To many parts, I'm still very impulsive, but because I'm ailing physically, I can't act on those impulses. So I was impulsive, I was naive, I had a terrible temper, and I was quite selfish and explosive. And I have, over the years, had to deal with a lot of very serious situations, a lot of very traumatic situations that have changed me into the person I am now, which is a very logical thinking, still impulsive, but in a way, alright, this is going to sound contradictory. I'm impulsive, but when I have those impulses, I think them through, and I decide whether or not I want to act on them or modify them. When I feel any bit of temper inside of me, again, I stop and I think about why I'm feeling that way and try not to act on it. Every now and then, if I'm going through like a BPD type emotional spiral, it's a little harder to fight that off, but it is something I'm working on, because just because I'm emotional and just because something hurts doesn't mean I need to act on it or anything. So it's one thing feeling the feelings that you do, it's another thing acting on them negatively. And, you know, I've come to learn that quite a lot, so you don't have to act on your feelings. You can still feel them without having to let it reflect onto somebody else. What else? Instead of being selfish, I'm still very primarily a very selfish person, but as I notice things I'm being selfish about, I try to think through how I can change that. And I have, in many degrees. In many ways, I'm still very naive, but not as naive as I was. And, you know, naivety can easily be changed with experiencing things. That's pretty much it. Knowledge will change how naive you are and how naive you are not. Alright, now that I've explained this and everything, I'm going to explain that I have definitely hurt people in the past, and I don't think that those things were ever intentional. They still happened, so it doesn't matter. People were still hurt, people were still treated badly, and, you know, the one thing I can say is I can't live in guilt with that, because there's no way I can ever make up for it. The only thing I can do is be the person I am now and try to show them that I would never do the things that I used to do. That's all I can really do, because you can't change the past. You can't stop those things from happening. You can't. And, you know, as much as I'd love to go back to the past and start from, like, the age of, like, 13 and start, like, doing it all over again, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And if it did happen, I would lose all of the knowledge I have now. Even if I miraculously started with the knowledge I have now, as I changed things, it would change who I was. It would change the outcome of things, and I would lose a lot of very precious things to me. And, you know, you've got to really take the good with the bad, because not everything in your life became bad. Not everything in my life was bad. I had to deal with a lot of bad things, and I also gained a lot of really fantastic things from those mistakes. So, even if I could change it, that would be dangerous, because there's a part of me that's like, yes, I would change it, but I could lose so much, and why would I want to chance that? I couldn't chance that. I just couldn't chance losing the good things just because I wanted to get rid of the bad things. in the end, I became a better person, and I have a lot of gifts and a lot of fantastic things around me because of that. So, basically, I think the reason I'm talking about this is because even though I'm moving through the past and I'm a different person now, there are so many people that stopped getting to know me. There are so many people that seem to still think that I am that person, that they have to judge me based on that. And I know that you can't change people's perceptions. I know that people's perceptions are on them. They're not on me. I have to handle my own perception of the world and do what I can with that perception. I can't change people. But the thing is because I live in constant guilt, I keep thinking that, you know, how am I ever going to change their view? How am I ever going to help them not see me that way? But it isn't my responsibility. But as I've said, it really bothers me. It drives me nuts that people won't see me, won't get to know me for who I am right now. Not who I was 15 years ago, not who I was even a year ago, because my biggest thing that I have done for, gosh, probably end of teens up is try to be a better person. Like, I'm always about self-betterment. I want to become a better person than what I was a year ago. It's not about comparing myself to somebody else, because their struggles and who they are is them. I need to look at me, and I'm a much more developed, much better person than I was at 15. And of course I'm going to be. I'm almost 30 now. But it just drives me crazy when people won't even take the time to see that. And I found out recently that a friend who I had trusted very much seemed to still have that perception, and it hurt so bad because they'd always talked about how many changes they'd seen in me, and yet they still had those blinders on, and it just drives me nuts. I want you guys to not look at who I was a year ago or 2 years ago, who I was in past videos. I want you guys to see me now. Look at me now and see how I've changed, and understand that that's what I'm going to be. I'm always going to be a work in progress. I'm always going to be trying to be more kind, trying to be more understanding, trying to be less selfish, trying to be more open-minded, trying to grow closer to the things that I love, and trying to just be the best me that I can possibly be. So, I guess I just wanted you guys to understand that, and I just wanted to kind of vent my feelings about it, because it's just very frustrating when people seem to think that I'm the same person I was 15 years ago. I will never be that person. And that's the same with anybody. You can't judge another person based on hearsay, based on what somebody else says about them, because that person has a completely different perception. Everybody has a different perception of how they see the world. If you want to know a person, talk to that person. Get to know that person. Don't listen to hearsay. Don't listen to rumors. Don't listen to the garbage. That's what I've learned. I used to be that kind of person. I'd be like, oh, well, this person is this because of what this person said. That's so shallow. Because you're never going to know a person without actually talking to them and being around them and experiencing them. That's just how it is. I just hope that people would have open minds and would learn that. Truly get to know people. Don't listen to rumors. Know them. Alright, well, I think I'm going to go for now. I think that that's basically all I'm going to touch on that subject. And I hope that it helped in some way. And if y'all need to talk about anything, or you want to, you know, discuss this further, you know, you can leave a comment or a message or whatever. Alright. Hope you all have a fantastic night, and I'm gonna continue sewing my shirt and watching YouTube videos. Okay. See ya.